Welcome back to Whealthy Show number 15. Obviously, I'm not in my studio. I am at a cabin in the woods. We had the opportunity to come here, and of course, we took it. So here we are. So we're going to start today's show with a comment that we got on our creatine video. Here it is. So Diamond D, can you mention your top pick for creatine? So I explained to Diamond that creatine is one of those things that's been around so long. It's been so well researched that you can go for the value deals of creatine, right? There's so many people that create it, and there's so many opportunities for people to create it well because it's simple, it's effective. So my favorite is going to be bulk supplements. It's on Amazon. Yeah, you don't have to feel like you need to, some like my fish oil, I want to get the best, right? I want to make sure that it's well-sourced fish oil and that it does what I need to do, that it's not bad already. It's not, what would you call it, oxygenated already. And so fish oil, I tend to choose top of the line. Something like creatine, I'm going to go ahead and pick whatever the best bang for your buck is, and bulk supplements happens to be that. If you're one of those people who wants top of the line creatine, Thorne is my favorite brand for well-researched, third-party tested supplement. So I would choose Thorne over any other brand if I want quality, but for creatine in particular, may not be necessary to buy that. But if you're one of those people, you have the money to spend, and possibly you're an athlete, you want to make sure that your supplements are not tainted at all because you have to get tested. Then maybe you want to choose that Thorne brand, which has been tested third party to make sure that it's just creatine. There's nothing else in there. If you're just a everyday user and you want some creatine, go ahead and feel comfortable choosing bulk supplements. So that is the first thing we'll talk about. Right. So our next topic is going to be caffeine, coffee. I've seen a lot of things about how coffee is bad. It's a drug. You get withdrawals when you stop drinking it. It's maybe, not that beneficial for other things. So like I said, yeah, all those things are true, right? For the negative effects of coffee, you're going to look at caffeine sensitivity, right? Caffeine is going to stay in some people's body much longer than others. So you may be following the rules of having caffeine 10 hours before you go to sleep, but yet when you lay down, you still can't go to sleep. You're just more sensitive to caffeine than others. So there's a risk of that. Again, it's going to disrupt sleep, and diet, sleep, exercise, kind of in that order. Sleep and diet are honestly, sleep might be the most important. And if you're disrupting it, well, there's a good argument that caffeine is not good for you at all. Can provide some digestive issues. That's something that I have to deal with. Is this coffee I'm drinking going to upset my gut, upset my stomach at all? Got to be very aware of that. Dependency withdrawals we touched on. Interference with nutrient absorption. Coffee compounds can hinder the absorption of certain minerals such as iron and calcium. So when you consume large quantities of coffee, are you really willing to also supplement with iron, which iron supplements actually are not as effective as you might think they are? Are you really willing to supplement with a vitamin D, calcium supplement? And then of course, it's going to mess up your teeth. So those are all the negatives. All those are true, but there's such a, obviously I am for caffeine. I go through periods of drinking decaf and drinking of coffee and drinking regular, but I specifically like to focus on caffeine, coffee, and brain health, the positive effects for the brain. And I think that I'm one of those people who are not maybe caffeine sensitive. I can have caffeine fairly late in the day, maybe noon, and be okay sleeping. There are times when I drink too much and I get bad sleep and I just don't drink as much the next day, or I have decaf. But I'm very, very interested in the beneficial effects that it has on your brain. So that's going to be enhanced cognitive function. Yeah, you're going to have that alertness, that increased energy, but also you are getting some cognitive increases in alertness, focus, improved cognitive performance, including memory, attention, and reaction time. So I think those are all good and worth it for me. You're going to risk neurodegenerative diseases. So studies suggest that regular coffee consumption may be associated with lower risk of neurodegenerative disease, such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So I'm really, really a big fan of that in terms of fighting off those risks a bit with not only something you enjoy, but something that's proven to fight those things for you. You're going to improve your mood, which is a plus or a minus. If you've noticed, when you get your caffeine, you're nice and peppy. When you don't get it, you could be grumpy, you could be irritated more easily. So it's also going to have prevention of stroke. So some studies suggest that moderate caffeine consumption may lower the risk of stroke, potentially due to the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties of coffee. Are there other and better antioxidants and anti-inflammatories? Yes, but if you enjoy coffee, I say go for it. And then the neuroprotective effects. Coffee contains various bioactive compounds such as polyphenols, antioxidants, which help protect the brain cells from damage. So I love all that. I just wanted to touch on that. It also has some metabolic and fat burning effects, boost physical performance, along with the alertness that we already discussed. So I would say that it's cool to do both, right? It's cool to go on hiatus from coffee and caffeine, and it's good to consume when necessary. Just don't feel like you have to do one or the other. I just wanted to touch on that briefly. Okay, so one other topic I wanted to discuss was this concept of gut motility, which refers to how foods move through your system, whether you're constipated or possibly you have diarrhea, or possibly, you have excellent bowel movements. Gut motility is going to play a part in all of that. And so what is gut motility? Gut motility refers to the movement of food and waste through our digestive tract. It's a process that involves muscles, nerves, hormones working together to propel everything along. So how things are going to be digested and how they're going to move through your GI system. So our nervous system is often called our second brain. The gut has neurons just like the brain, and it plays a crucial role in gut motility. So the way that your gut and brain interact are going to play they're going to play a role in how you digest things. And so leaky gut, inflammation in the gut, inflammation of the brain, those are all going to impact the way that foods move through our system. So now we know the importance of gut motility. How do we improve it? Well, you guessed it, it's going to be a diet, sleep, and exercise, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting regular physical activity, whether that's a brisk walk or cycling. There's a reason that you digest foods a bit better when you walk following a meal. So those countries, those states that have a culture of walking, they're going to digest foods a bit better. Cycling, anything that increases blood flow in our gut is going to increase gut motility. That doesn't mean that you want to do something rigorous, any kind of high intensity training after you eat. Just something light, something that's going to get the blood flowing is going to be good for your gut. Staying hydrated with water and electrolytes helps soften your stool and helps them move through your gut more effectively, more efficiently. So staying hydrated is another aspect. Eating fiber-rich foods, so the foods that pass through your GI system until they get to your gut and are digested by the healthy bacteria, that's all going to improve and help you form healthier stool. So if you don't know what healthy stool is, go ahead and look at the Bristol stool chart. You can determine, and it's disgusting, maybe kind of fitting that we're in nature and we're talking about stool, to be honest, but it's one of the easiest, quickest ways that you can determine the health of your gut, because your gut microbiome can change within 72 hours. So the stool is going to be the quickest way. Of course, the best way is to get like a fecal sample test from the doctor, but who really wants to do all that like every 3 days? So same is true I see my dogs walking over here. So the same is going to be true for your dogs. Your dogs are doing well when their stool is formed. They're sick or whatever whenever they haven't used the restroom or they have, some kind of loose stool. Right? It's also important to be mindful of what foods can trigger some problems inside of your gut motility. So, foods such as fatty foods, caffeine, artificial sweeteners, it is important to avoid these triggers and contribute to better digestion and bowel movements. Of course, like anything, managing stress doesn't get talked about. It kind of gets talked about enough, but maybe not from a scientific perspective. Actually, if you're interested, there's a great book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, and the answer is they have very controlled levels of stress. They're only stressed when appropriate. Maybe I can do a little review on that. That actually would be good. Anyway, managing stress with things such as meditation, yoga, deep breathing are going to alleviate stress and support healthy digestion. Interesting story, I won't say who, but when this person goes on a retreat, a vacation, they can seem to digest a lot more things a lot better. And then when they return to regular life, everything is all kind of out of whack and nothing has changed that much besides the levels of stress. So I hope you learned a little bit about gut motility and what that is. I think it's an interesting concept that I hadn't necessarily heard about. I mean, the name itself kind of suggests what it is. So yeah, I hope that helps you along your journey. That's all I'd like to do. So it's incredible how many people are reaching out about gut problems and how many people have some sort of ailments as far as what they can or can't digest. And it seems as though my parents and their generation are completely fine, and my generation is a little bit more messed up. So I'm talking to all you out there, but I'm talking to anybody with gut problems, honestly. So I hope we can form this community together and help each other out, because I don't know everything. I'm just trying to share my journey along with you. So yeah. Thanks. That reminds me, I might want to just give you an update on briefly my Entyvio infusions. I started Entyvio in January of this year. It is now July, so 7 months later, and it is excellent. I couldn't be happier. I'm glad I did what I did in the beginning. For the 5-6 years of kind of just trying to figure it out on my own, it helped educate me a lot. It helped me understand what my sensitivities were. But I'm also very, very happy that I'm on this medicine now. I'm able to operate much more normally. I'm able to get back into physical fitness and exercises in the way that I enjoy. So it took, maybe you get your dose 0, dose at 2 weeks, dose at 6 weeks, and then you don't get another dose for 8 weeks. And that's a loading phase, which went well. But my first 8-week dose, I was still kind of like towards the end, like after 6 weeks, I was like week 7 and 8, I wasn't quite sure. But after that first 8-week period, the next 8-week period, I was completely fine. And I'm able to, like I said, do a lot more things. I haven't taken the chances on eating gluten, on eating like poorly and all those things, and I won't. That's just the way that like I said, not having it for so long helped me understand exactly what was needed to improve my gut health. And just because I'm receiving Entyvio doesn't mean that my gut is healed. It took a long time to damage my gut, and it's going to take, I would say, twice as long to heal it. That's just the way that I believe it to be true. So possibly in the future, if they ever come up with something where I can come off of Entyvio, I want to be prepared with like the healthiest gut ever. So, yeah, I'm going to keep eating my fermented foods, keep eating my prebiotic vegetables, even though I am not the biggest fan of vegetables, but keep eating all those good stuff so I can try to remain healthy now. I am going to wrap it up here because look at this pool. I don't know if you can see my sweat or not. It's hot. It's beautiful. My dogs are calling me. My girlfriend's calling me. So I have to go. I hope everyone stays wealthy. Yee. Peace.
Welcome to the circle. It's the winning team.